Hi everyone and welcome back to Artful. In this week's tutorial I'll be showing you how I sketched this secluded landscape using our soft pastels. You'll see that to the left of my paper that I've actually snapped my soft pastels. Now this is a deliberate choice, I haven't just dropped them clumsy as I am. I find when you snap your soft pastels it gives you a sharper point to draw from and this makes it easier to sketch. I'm using a dark yellow pastel to draw the horizon of our landscape as well as the outline of our secluded house. I'm using the flat edge of the pastel to colour in that blank space. I'm using a flat edge of a light pink pastel to colour in our sky. Now here's an unconventional and I think underused technique for using your soft pastels, which is using a paintbrush and a bit of water to draw out the pigment of the pastels. And then once again using a larger paintbrush and a bit of water, I'm drawing out the pigment of the pastel to create this nice pink sky. Give it about 20 minutes for that water that you've added on top of your pastels to dry. And then once it is dry, you can start drawing into it with your details. The first detail I'm going to focus on is our little secluded house. I'm using that dark yellow to draw and colour in the roof of the house. And using a teal to colour in the shadow on the side of the house. I'm using the red pastel to draw the chimney stack, and the windows and the door. I'm adding a bit of red pastel to the roof on top of the dark yellow. And then again using the teal to create the shadow to the left. And I'm also adding some dark blue pastel on top of the teal pastel on the side of the house. I'm sure I've banged on before about how much I love to use a limited palette in my own artwork, and I'm doing the same again here by using the teal pastel to try and sketch in the shrubbery in the fields surrounding the house. What's great about using that technique of using the water to draw out that nice underlayer is that you're not sketching on top of a white background. I feel like people can be a bit intimidated when using soft pastels, but in my opinion, I think it's great to just experiment and have a go. It's always good to not be too precious about developing your artwork and not put that pressure for it to be perfect immediately. Once I've got all that lovely grass detailing with my teal pastel, I'm working on top of it with a red. This just helps all the greenery in the composition to have a bit of depth and shadow. I'd love to see how people are getting on with the soft pastels, so please tag me in your own artwork on Instagram at Artful Box. I'm really interested to see everyone else's pastel landscapes. Once I've finished adding all that red detailing, I'm using the flat side of a light brown pastel to try and add a bit of texture on top of our yellow background. Really what I'm trying to achieve is to not have the green around the house just be one flat colour. I'd like there to be lots of different colours because when you're going for a walk and you look down, it's not all just the one same colour, there's all these different details and all these different textures. And I'd like to try and recreate that with my artwork. Again, all I'm doing is slowly building up the colour layers in the field around the house. So I'm adding some grass detailing in a darker pink. As well as a dark blue. Now I'm quite happy with the foreground on my composition, but what's bothering me about the artwork as a whole is I think the sky is a bit dull. I think it's a bit boring when the sky is one flat colour. I'd like it to be a kind of gradual gradient. So what I'm going to do is work over that dry pink underlayer using the same light pink pastel. And I can blend that pink in a bit by sweeping the pastel dust side to side with my fingers. Then I'm taking one of the darker pink pastels and sketching nearer the top of the page. Then, using my fingers, I can sweep the pastel dust side to side and in a downward motion, and this will blend the two colours together. This helps give the artwork this lovely gradual gradient, and overall just makes the background of the composition that little bit more interesting. Using the light grey pastel, I'm adding some smoke coming out of our chimney top, as if someone's cooking something inside. You know, I am getting a bit carried away now. This is the kind of home I'd like to live in. And using that same grey pastel, I'm adding some clouds on top of our dark to light gradient background. I want those grey smoke and cloud detailings to pop a bit more in the composition, so I'm adding a bit of shadow to the side of them with a dark pink pastel. And now I still think there's something missing. So I'm going to add a modern addition to what you often see in these secluded landscapes: wind turbines. I don't want these to be too detailed. In fact, I think it would be more interesting for the composition if they're almost like a silhouette, as if the light's hitting them from behind. So I'm going to take our light pink pastel and sketch out the rough shape. Before working into it with the darker pink pastel. At the minute, I think they're sitting a bit awkwardly on the horizon line. So I'm using the teal and the red pastels to create these rolling hills in the far background, just so they sit a bit more naturally in the composition. And there's a nice secluded pastel landscape. This took me around 45 minutes to complete in total. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you want to see some more soft pastel videos, we've got a bunch of them already on our YouTube, as well as other tutorials covering different mediums. All the materials used today can be found in the Artful Soft Pastel Starter Box, a link for which will be in the description. And if you're new to Artful, then why not visit artful.co.uk. Cheers again for watching, and I'll see you again soon with a new video.